Welcome to Mystical and Practical, the podcast that demystifies the soul's journey, the spirit world, and spiritual practices. I'm Meli Guidance, a past life psychic, certified Akashic Records reader, and channeling coach. Here, we talk about spirit guides, the Akashic Records, reincarnation, and everything that connects the seen to the unseen, all with both feet firmly on the ground. Ready to decode the spirit world and connect with your inner magic? Let's jump right in. Hello. Welcome to the podcast. I'm super happy to be here with you today as we're going to talk about spirit guides, all about spirit guides. I am ready. I have my tea here. It's a London fog today. That means it's Earl Grey tea plus frothen milk and a dash of maple syrup because I live in Canada, so it's the most obvious natural syrup that we have, syrup, sugar that we have here. So there you go. I just recorded the French version, so I hope my voice is fine. Last time I was talking to you about how our souls are born and how we're born into a soul family, and the kind of entity who is with us and helping the soul family is our teacher guide. So there are many spirit guides, but when we're born into a soul family, we have our main teacher guide, and that guide is there with us to help us in between lives on the astral plane. So remember, I mentioned there is the earth plane, and then there is the astral plane where we go in between lives. So astral plane is kind of the spirit world. And this is where we meet our soul family and our teacher guide, our day-to-day spirit guides. And then there's also the causal plane where we also have spirit guides. We can meet their elevated spirit guides. But let's stick to the astral plane for now. So our teacher guides, they are our cheerleaders for us. When we're in the spirit world, on the astral plane in between lives, they are helping us. If we just passed, they are helping us with our life review. They are helping us learning more about our karma, our earth experiences, and they're helping us as well planning our next incarnation and planning our soul plan for that incarnation. And don't worry, I am going to talk about the soul plan on another podcast episode. So they're really helping us, like we go to earth school and there are teachers there. They're guiding us through, what we did not so good and what we did really good, and how we can heal past life trauma or ancestral trauma in our next incarnation. And so their job is to help us with the soul plan and then help us once we incarnate on Earth. So what happens when we incarnate on Earth is that we have reincarnation amnesia. So we don't remember all our past lives, and with good reason, because let's say you've reincarnated 50, 80 times or more, because if you're an old soul, and if you're watching this or listening to this, it means you're an old soul, because you're super curious about reincarnation, spirituality, and going really deep, personal development, and all of that. So if you're an old soul, you reincarnated many times. And we're going to take a look at the soul age and soul levels on another podcast episode. But let's say you've reincarnated 50, 80 times. Think about all that past life trauma. If we would be to remember all of that, it would be so heavy that we could become crazy. Just think about all the trauma that you went through in this lifetime. And then multiply it by 50 or 80. You don't want that. And also, we would kind of be biased if we would remember everything and we would remember our soul plan, because we would go, oh, well, I better be nice with this person because I'm balancing karma. So you would be very interested in achieving certain goals, quote unquote, and that would be very biased. We really want to come in and do our best while not remembering everything in our past. So, our spirit guides, when we are incarnated, they remember everything. We have a reincarnation amnesia, but they remember everything. And this is how they're really cheering us and helping us keep on the right path, keep up with our life missions. So we're aligned with our life missions and with our soul types, which we will go in detail when we look at the soul plan. But they're really helping us through all of this. And to make sure that we meet the right person, the right people to get us to where we need to be, or to make sure that we get the right job that is aligned with what our soul wants us to do, they are going to use synchronicities. Synchronicities happen every time that you are thinking, whoa, what were the odds that this and that would happen? This is your spirit guides using synchronicities every time you're thinking that. So every time something serendipitous happens that you're like, whoa, like normally this would be impossible. How come this happens? Sometimes we can also think like, wow, this is too good to be true. When we're really in a good spot and we're aligned to do something, we're like, oh, whoa, this is too good to be true. That's your spirit guides. I'm going to give you an example with what I went through recently about a year and a half ago. So for the longest time, my spirit guides were saying, there's a book you need to write. And I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to write. And it seems like writing a book is very lonely and very heavy, and it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to be complicated. So, of course, it's my ego self just discouraging me completely. And so I wouldn't act on it. And my spirit guides knew that this was in my soul plan to write. It's part of communication is very important for me in this incarnation. So it was part of it. And I wouldn't do anything. So at a certain point, they got a bit quote unquote fed up. Like they don't have an ego. They are not really fed up, but they were like, okay, we need to move things around, shake things up for her for this to happen. And so what happened is that I got contacted on Instagram by an editor who was looking for someone to write a book on the Akashic records. She had never heard of me. She just did a research on Instagram and saw my profile at the time. I don't think I had a lot of followers, maybe 5,000, not more than that, maybe 3 to 5,000. So it wasn't a big social media following, but something clicked for her when she saw my profile. And I'm saying that because I asked her, I was super curious how everything happened. And so I'm meeting her over Zoom and everything is super easy. And what I'm suggesting to her, she's like, yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for. I wrote the book, sent it to the editor. There were edits, but really like light edits just to make sure that everything was well detailed, well explained, everything was clear. But everything was so easy with the editor. And at some point, the spirit guides were like, if we're not making it for her a tiny bit easy, nothing is going to happen. So we're going to show her that she's meant to write books. And this book I wrote. This book over there. So if you're watching on YouTube, this is the book. It's a French editor. So for now, it's only in French. And the book is called The Akashic Records, a guide to read your Akashic Records and access your inner wisdom. And so I wrote the book, and I'm not saying that the spirit guides only put easy situations on our path. They also know that we need to go through some challenges. And those challenges, like when we incarnate, we choose our initial situation, our birth situation. And I'm going to talk about it more in the soul plan episode. But we make, basic decisions, like we know we're going to be born in this country and these will be our parents and yada yada. So we know that we are going to face some fears and trauma based on that. And if need be, our spirit guides will bring us challenges. So it's not all, roses and lollipops and everything. Like, my spirit guides only bring me great things. But I wanted to give you an example of things, synchronicities sometimes are that you're like, wow, what were the odds? It's the same thing with the people we need to meet and the potential soulmates. With this will be the subject of another podcast as well. So they're playing with synchronicities. For example, when I was saying soulmates, like, I met my husband through a friend, and my husband wasn't living in Canada, he was living in Europe. So there was a challenge there, but I had a mission of exploration, he had a mission of exploration, and we had a common friend. Also, she had a mission, she still has a mission of exploration. And our common friend did an internship in Montreal where I was just hired. I think I worked with her for maybe 2 months, and then she went back to Europe, but we always stayed in contact. And this is how I met my husband. So you see, synchronicities, I always see it as kind of a spirit guides moving around chess pieces. And I don't mean that this is a game to them. Like, it's not, oh, let's play with these people. Like, we all have our free will, but it's like, okay, I'm going to make sure that this person is in contact with this person and cross my fingers that they have their heart open and they are going to connect, because next they will be able to connect with this person, or this will bring them an opportunity for a new job, a new contract that's really aligned with their life missions. And so this is how they set synchronicities. It's one of their big job. Their other big job as spirit guides is that uh, they hear us and they answer us. Okay, so, and I need to specify that they hear us and they understand us, because our spirit guides on the astral plane used to be incarnated just like us. So they went through the reincarnation cycle, and at some point towards the end, they felt like they knew enough of what the human experience is, what it's all about, giving love, receiving love, being compassionate, understanding that we are all one and that we are all equal as humans, but also humans, animals, plants, the planet. So once you get a good grasp of it, it's not about reaching perfection, but once you reach a good grasp of the human experience, you stop reincarnating and you become a full-time spirit guide on the astral plane. So this is why I'm saying to you, like, your teacher guide, yes, they are more elevated spirit guides because they're leading your soul family's group, but they have been incarnated. So maybe it's been a while since they were incarnated, but they went through the same experience. Another thing that is really fun is that our past loved ones and our ancestors are also spirit guides to us, because in between our lives, when we go to the astral plane, we become like trainee spirit guides. So yes, we do our life review. Yes, we go to earth school with our spirit guides, but we're also spirit guides in training, and we are helping the people that we left behind because we know them super well. So it's easy to train as a spirit guide with people that you know very, very well. And that's how you may have spirit guides that are past loved ones or even ancestors that you don't know of, you don't truly remember them, but maybe you've incarnated with them in the past. And so this is how they are also spirit guides to you, and they're very much going to help you in your day-to-day life. Now, these people may be like spirit guide for joy, spirit guide for love. I have a grandpa that I never known in my life because he passed away before I was born, but we had at least one past life together in the UK when we were brother and sisters. And when he reached out to me and he showed me that past life, and he explained to me that he is one of my spirit guides for love. So we have different life areas, and we have those specific spirit guides that are past loved ones, as ancestors who help us with the day-to-day life. And so all this to go back to the fact that our spirit guides and our teacher guides, they understand us because they've been there. So these are all guides on the astral plane. Oh, there are two more groups. I was about to forget. I also encompass as spirit guides are spirit animals and elementals. If you don't know what elementals are, they are light beings who are the pure essence of an element. For example, for fire, you have the phoenix, salamanders. For earth, you have the gnomes, amadriads. For water, you have the naiads, the water dragons. And for air, you have the sylphs. And there are some more as well. And they are with you when you're in a phase, maybe you need more fire, you need more determination and willpower in your life. Well, okay, maybe the phoenix comes in and he's your spirit guide for that moment. And I just love in the elementals, I love how they have a really feel fun. Well, maybe the gnomes aren't that funny, haha funny, because they're pretty serious, but it's like having a little friend with you. And by the way, I have 4 elemental healings where you get messages from an elemental and you get a healing from them. So I have 4 because of the 4 elements, one for each. So if you're curious about that, you can check out my website. And also, spirit animals. We have different spirit animals with us depending on what we're going through in life. If you've been following me on social media, the dragonfly is both a sign I receive from my spirit guides and also a spirit animal that is with me at the moment. So I include those beings as spirit guides as well. So astral plane, you have the earth plane, higher up the astral plane, and higher up you have the causal plane. And there you have spirit guides that are even more elevated, and that includes ascended masters and archangels. Ascended masters are beings that used to be some kind of prophet on earth. And they dedicated their last incarnation or last incarnations, plural, it depends, about spirituality and helping people become better person and be happier. So you have, I think the most well-known, we could say Buddha, Jesus, Kuan Yin, Mary. There's also Ascended Master Saint Germain that is quite popular for helping you with healing, raising your vibes, your third eye, and all of that. So this is astral plane. It's even more elevated. This is causal plane, sorry. By the way, when you open your Akashic records, you tap in the causal plane. So that's interesting because when you simply channel your spirit guides, you're on the astral plane, kind of the middle plane. And when you access your Akashic records, it's like you're connected to the earth all the way to your soul star chakra and your Akashic record. So you're connected to both your spirit guides on the astral plane, and you go higher up and you have also access to spirit guides on the causal plane, which are ascended masters, but also archangels. Archangels, think about Archangel Michael for protection, Archangel Raphael for healing, Archangel Gabriel for communication. That's the archangel that is with me. This incarnation is very much about communication, even though This might not be obvious. I'm healing from a fear of self-expression. So you might go, well, Melissa, you're in front of a microphone and you're filming your podcast. Well, yeah, I'm doing it because my soul is pushing me to do it, to heal that fear. So part of me really wants to be in front of a camera, and part of me is like, oh no, don't do that. People are going to judge you. You're going to be rejected, and all of this. So yeah, Gabrielle is with me for communication. You have also Metatron, Zadkiel, Uriel, Jophiel, Jeremiel. You have a ton of archangels. And by the way, if you're interested in archangels and ascended masters, we're going through the main ones in detail in the Advanced Akashic Records course, if you want to check that out on my website. Okay, so now the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, and something I promised in the last episode, is that I would talk to you about the spirit guide that is with me at the moment. So that spirit guide is Petra. And I'm going to give you an example of how I got in contact with her, because you might be thinking, okay, who are my spirit guides and how do I feel their presence? So, of course, Petra was always there with me. She's been there since the birth of my soul. And what's interesting is that I'm also a star seed from Hadara, and she's also a star seed from Hadara. Although she was born way before me, and that's how she's more advanced, and she's a teacher guide. But we have this in common. And when you're a star seed from Hadara, it's all about love and finding the answers in love, which is something that all the old souls seek to do, but it's very much more ingrained within your soul when you're from Hadara. And so she's always been there, but I couldn't specifically recognize that it was her until I had an Akashic Records reading with a peer, and she gave me the name, and I suddenly felt like in my mind's eye, in my third eye, I could see her. Like it was an evidence all of a sudden. And once I knew it was her, then when I went into my Akashic records, it was really clear that she was the one that I was meeting all along. It's as if before I knew it was her, I felt the presence, but it was more blurry. And then when I knew it was her, it was like, okay, I know that I'm specifically working with you. And my Akashic records became so much clearer, like the environment of my Akashic records. We have a specific spot where we chat with each other, and then a specific spot where she brings me to take a look at my book of life, and then we take a look at past lives and all of that. And it's really nice to have someone to meet like that in your Akashic records. And she has a specific feel, as she is a very good listener and I'm a very good speaker, meaning that when we meet, I have tons of things I want to ask and tons of things I want to say. So I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And then she smiles and she's like, yeah, yeah. And she shows me that I talk so much that through my talking, I'm giving myself the keys and the answers. And so that's an interesting dynamic. And sometimes when I'm not giving myself the keys, of course, she's answering and she's showing me a past life and this or that. So yeah, I wanted to share about my personal teacher guide. I have other spirit guides as well, and sometimes it's not really that they are presenting themselves as specific spirit guides, but just as a group, talking as a group of spirit guides. So, yeah, there you go. I imagine that now you might have questions for me about spirit guides. Maybe I said something that made you think about, well, how can my spirit guide help me with this or that? So if you have any questions, you can send them to me. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can use a description box, or if you'd rather keep it personal, you can always email me at meli.guidance@gmail.com. If I said that too fast, just check out in the show notes, in the description. You can text me or message me on social media, and I'm thinking about gathering questions and maybe do a podcast as a Q&A to answer questions about the all the previous episodes. So yeah, feel free to reach out to me. I'd like to hear from you. And before I leave you, I just want to tell you that I'm really excited. You know, when I was telling you that everything went smoothly with my first book, and you might know now that since then I wrote a second book and I wrote a third book. So, second one is about the powers of the earth. The third one is about shadow and light in magic. Again, they're only in French for the moment. But I wanted to let you know that I'm really busy because I got contracts for 3 more books and an oracle deck. I'm super excited about the oracle deck. It's a long time dream of mine to write an oracle, to channel the messages. I don't want to say right now what it's about because I haven't officially signed the contract yet because everything is on pause in France during the summer months. Hardly anyone works there. Like they have so much vacation. It's like the cashier at the grocery store has as much vacation as a CEO in North America. It's crazy. So yeah, the contracts are pending, but it's just formality. I've already started writing the books and working on the oracle. It's going to be super, super fun. So I'm a busy bee right now. I'm going to leave you and go work on that. I hope that you have a nice rest of your day or a rest of your evening. And yeah, wishing you all the best. And I will see you in 2 weeks. Okay, take care. Bye bye. Thank you for listening to the Mystical and Practical podcast with Meli Guidance. If this episode spoke to you, please subscribe to the channel and leave some stars, a thumbs up, or a comment. It truly helps to share the podcast with other old souls seeking a deeper understanding of the spirit world. If you're interested in getting an Akashic Records reading, a tarot reading, or joining one of my online courses, you will find all the details at meliguidance.com. This podcast was edited by plcm.ca and the original music was composed by record.bandcamp.com. Until next time, remember, we are all souls having a human experience and we can all be mystical and practical.